Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. It's another stormy day across much of the Corn Belt yesterday. I snapped this photo near Cerro Gordo in Piatt County in east central Illinois, and this was an outflow dominant storm, which means it was producing primarily damaging wind gusts as its severe weather hazard. And what you're seeing here, you're actually seeing a downburst here, a lot of dry air coming down out of the thunderstorm here in this kind of white area. So you've got cooler air coming out, you've got warm, humid air out in front of that storm system. So the outflow air comes out, that warm inflow is lifted up and over the top of that cool air coming out of the storm, that cool outflow, and you get that updraft region. We're getting a new updraft region where a new base was forming, and so that's what causes this kind of low-hanging area here. This is kind of an unusual storm here. It wasn't kind of the big long shelf cloud across the horizon. This also is not a wall cloud. This is not a rotating feature that would have produced a tornado. This was primarily and entirely a high wind event here across portions of central Illinois, along with some very heavy rain. But severe weather going to be coming to a brief pause across the Corn Belt here. We'll take a look at the satellite picture. Here is the upper level low that triggered the storm system or triggered the storms across the upper Midwest. We've also got a cluster of thunderstorms across the southern plains and a cold front extending across portions of the Corn Belt down into the southern plains as well. You can see this here as we flip it over and look at the radar. Again, kind of this northern area of showers and storms right here, and then we've got the cluster of stronger storms, this MCS producing damaging winds across portions of the southern plains. Really textbook system down there. I'm sure Eric will be talking about it in the southern U.S. forecast if you want to check that out as well. Cooler air behind there, 50s and 60s across the Corn Belt here on this Tuesday morning. We were talking last week about some areas of dryness here. We checked in with the latest drought monitor. We also talked about the increasing dryness here across portions of the southern plains into the central and northern plains, as well as eastern portions of the Corn Belt, talking about the fact that we would get some rain across some of these regions here, at least if not all of them. So how did we do over the last 7 days? Well, we talked about this corridor maybe being favored for the heaviest rain from the southern plains into portions of the upper Midwest. That did pan out. Of course, we're into summer now, so the precipitation becomes much more spotty and kind of located where the heaviest thunderstorms actually pass. So those extreme amounts where you see the yellow here, where we're talking about more than 4 to 6 inches of rain, kind of localized here and focused across portions of the Panhandles, the Red River region into central Kansas, and then again across parts of northeastern Iowa. But just about everyone getting at least splotchy precipitation. It took until yesterday across portions of Indiana to finally get some in there across some of the very dry soil, but we did some work, and we're going to do a little bit more as we head into the end of the week, into early next week. Of course, the next couple of days is going to be a little bit on the drier side, but as we look at the GFS on the top, the ensemble forecast here, and the European ensemble on the bottom, both of which bringing active conditions back into the central Corn Belt. A little bit of differing here across the northern plains, although the GFS does begin to fill this in here as it gets just beyond that 4 to 10 day time frame. But we're going to resume an active pattern across the midsection of the Corn Belt after a couple of quiet days. Here's the severe weather outlooks for today, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. And again, with that severe weather risk beginning to push off to the south and to the west over the next couple of days, but then popping right back up across the northern plains as we get into Thursday, spreading across much more of the Corn Belt heading into the weekend. So the high-resolution NAM model will take us into Thursday now. We'll continue to watch this upper-level low across the Great Lakes spin away and bring its shower and storm activity to portions of the northeast. If I go ahead and back it up, we do have a chance across portions of the central Corn Belt. I'm talking about maybe kind of Wisconsin into northern Illinois as we head into Wednesday afternoon and evening for maybe a couple of light scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms kind of across this corridor as a little shortwave makes its way through. It's going to be rather moisture starved, but we can't really call anything moisture starved as we start getting into midsummer here. It won't have those mid-70s dew points, but I think we'll have enough to kick off a few showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms here moving northwest to southeast across this region Wednesday afternoon and evening. If we go ahead and take it into Thursday now, we'll start to see those thunderstorm chances returning across the northern plains as we get into Thursday afternoon and evening. This only runs out to about 1 p.m. So we take a look at total precipitation between now and midday on Thursday. Again, here's that chance for maybe some scattered showers and storms across portions of southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, maybe northern Indiana. Wednesday afternoon and evening, maybe a couple spotty showers possible elsewhere, but excluding portions of Indiana and Ohio that'll see some rain and storms today. Pretty dry across the Corn Belt as we head into the middle part of the week. Now, what's going to change? Here's this low that's kind of making its way through, this kind of Great Lakes low that brought the shower and storm activity to the region now, or over the last couple of days, I should say. And let's take it into Thursday. Here's the little short wave rotating around the backside that could, or Wednesday, I'm sorry, that could kick off those showers and storm chances across, again, portions of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. But this is the short wave we're really paying attention to that starts to make a noise as we get into the end of the week, into the weekend, as this kind of upper level flow begins to sweep down into parts of the central Corn Belt right about here as we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This response at the surface is to return the flow off the Gulf of Mexico. So we've got a cold front moving through right now. That's what has been causing the thunderstorm activity of the last several days. Drier air punching in here across the Corn Belt, shoving that deeper moisture back down toward the Gulf. It does not clear the Gulf of Mexico, though. As we get into Wednesday, getting into Thursday, that's about as far south as the dry air makes it. We're already now starting to return the flow by midweek across portions of the central and southern plains. But then as we get into the end of the week, into the weekend, here we go. Resaturating that air mass. Lots of precipitation, or lots of precipitable water content. That means a lot of available moisture within the atmosphere. And then if you recall, just that last slide, starting to bring upper level jet stream flow back in across the midsection of the country. And that sets the stage once again for clusters of thunderstorms locally, if not kind of regional heavy rainfall possible here as we head into the weekend and early next week. So let's take a look at it just as it is verbatim from the European model here, looking at the surface pressure and precipitation forecast. Again, the heavier precipitation making its way off to the east today, along with that area of low pressure across the Great Lakes. We'll take it into Wednesday afternoon and evening, quiet across the Corn Belt. We get that little chance for maybe some scattered showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms here across that region late in the day on Wednesday. Relatively quiet again on Thursday until you get toward the northern plains. This is where we'll see that thunderstorm threat beginning to re-emerge Thursday afternoon and evening, and then as we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, turning things back on across the midsection of the Corn Belt here from the central plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley and portions of the eastern Corn Belt possible as well. Big differences in how this is handled, though, as we get beyond Sunday and Monday. Both the GFS and the European model agreeing on bringing thunderstorm clusters back into this region. The GFS holds on a little bit longer, though, and kind of keeps upper level flow going across the midsection of the Corn Belt here and continues to kind of hammer portions of the central plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley with clusters of thunderstorms even into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, whereas the European model wants to kind of shut things down. So being a regional shorter term forecast here, we're just going to kind of focus on the next 5 to 7 days, and I'm going to tell you we are going to resume an active pattern here across the midsection of the country as we get into certainly the end of the week into the weekend, but we'll have to talk more as we get into the later part of the week about how long this is going to actually last. Does this kind of linger into next week, or is the European model right by kind of shutting it back down as we head into early next week? Temperatures, they're going to be on a bit of a yo-yo here across portions of the Corn Belt here. The northern plains certainly feeling some cooler temperatures now. That cooler air sinking into the rest of the Corn Belt here over the next couple of days. We're going to start to warm right back up, though, as we head into the weekend and early next week with unusually hot conditions here and seasonally warm, I should say, across the northern plains as we head into the last few days of June. So we'll look at your high temperatures over the next 5 days, 70s for those highs today, much cooler than we have been over the last several days across a big chunk of the Corn Belt. Wednesday, those 70s holding on across a big chunk of the area. Warmth starting to return across the high plains, 80s and 90s for those highs on Thursday, again with that chance for maybe a couple of strong storms across this region. Friday, the severe weather threat and the heavy rain threat continues to shift off to the south and to the east across the Corn Belt, expanding with that heat and humidity back. High temperatures in the upper 80s, near 90s, with those dew points once again returning to the upper 60s and 70s across the region. A very hot, muggy, summer-like air mass with those warm temperatures continuing into the weekend.